Well, whenever you see this, good morning for me. Enjoying the rising sun of the morning, which is a practice that I wanted to have for a while. And in this beautiful separation, while my DM is out learning to do many of the things that he wanted to do also, I really put myself to task to being able to get up and enjoy the mornings. I'm funny about it though because just naturally, I don't like to do anything for the reasons that anybody else does them. I used to not like to do anything that anyone else did, not as a literal thing. Like I still put my shoes on one foot at a time generally, like most other people do, and that doesn't bother me. Although now that I think about it, maybe I'll do that in a different way just for fun. But as an eight type and a Capricorn, I have definitely enjoyed doing things differently. Though I got to an energy of being to where it's mostly about I like doing things in a different energy, a different spirit for a different reason than others do, and not than everybody else does. Just I suppose to those that I know around me, and now it's just become kind of a fun game with myself. In any case, I looked for reasons that I could hold on to that I would enjoy getting up in the mornings rather than, well, because you have to, or because you got to take the kids to school, or because somebody wants you to, or because it's an adult thing to do. No, I didn't want that. So I I heard I heard an elder once imparting some information about kind of some of the magics that can only really be known in the mornings. If you get up when the sun is rising. And I looked more into that and I really enjoyed what I found. You might enjoy that too. And it's funny because a lot of it isn't even fully, it's not even partially described as to what that magic is about. And in my experience, part of that is because you can't really know until you make it a practice and you get up with the morning sun, you do some prayers, you do some thinking, you listen to the birds. There's a woodpecker behind me that for some reason every morning he really, really likes to bang on this. It sounds like tin sheeting on the neighbor's house. Oh, let's see, there was a message. Hello. Started a channel. Nice. Glad to see you too. And is your channel with your username? Is it? Do I just go there? Or did you start it on a different one? Um, and congrats and awesome. That's a good first step. Anyways, I came on because in my morning magic time, kind of calling it my quiet queen time, I was thinking about some fun lessons that I really learned over this last year, and especially in the times of solitude, and what I've chatted with some lovely tribe members and people in the collective about all this new energy coming in, and a lot of it some of the most sensical language that we can find to describe it so we can share it with others seems kind of crazy. And what's funny is it's not that crazy, but when we're talking about new things and concepts that are not just new to us but in many ways either I want to say new to like the human experience in general, but I feel like most of it's not that new. It's just ancient information that we lost ways with and don't have like documented anymore because of, our silly human ways and are coming back into as we kind of all upgrade collectively. But in any case, you might get to a point to where you're like, you've got all this fun information that you want to impart and you want to share with people, and you're like, well, what if they think I'm crazy? Or maybe if you're on the twin flame journey and you want to tell people about it, about the connection, you want to be able to process it, sort it out, and you're like, what if people think I'm crazy? Or maybe you're the runner twin and you want to go, you realize the significance of the connection with your twin and you want union, and you're like, what if everybody thinks I'm crazy, especially as I really had to try to make that person out to be a bad guy in my head to stay away from them for so long? Or what if you want to start a new business and it's doing something totally different that nobody's ever really seen and it's kind of weird? Or you want to make art that is a whole new thing and you're like, but what if people think I'm weird? And the best advice that Spirit's given me, that anyone else has given me, and what has worked so freaking well for me is embrace the absurd, embrace the nuttiness, embrace the crazy. Because the truth is, I mean, especially if you're here watching this, you likely hold yourself like uber accountable in the first place. And it's very unlikely that what you're talking about is actually all that crazy, or even absurd for that matter. So the absurdity in it is embracing that the truth that people like you for your weirdness. They like the information they get from you. They like the newness. They like the weird. They like the mental challenge of thinking about new concepts that get thrown out there. And really think about it. I mean, even if you want to simplify it to like an entertainment based sort of concept, think about it. Like we've gone through, we make up movies, we make up shows, we turn books into movies and shows. We have stand up comedy, we have reality TV, we have documentaries, we have all these different things. And really, well, when you get down to it, what people have been looking for and are looking for is more than just what we know, more than just that day to day recognizable human experience. And even, I mean, been the popular, or who's the popular one last year? It was like that Tiger King or something. I still haven't watched it, but I heard about it all the time. Like, people, like, that's something that's kind of exotic. It's an experience, that people like. It's got a little drama, a little theatricalness, exotic animals, things like that. But it's still not quite there. It's just drama, and I mean that in the sense of like theatricalness. Like that's kind of part of our, not our old experience per se, but it's a known experience. Like it's in an exotic setting, but the things going on are really not that new. And what's really catching people's attention these days, and it makes sense with all this Aquarian energy, and this year's 2021, it's 5, the Hierophant related to Aquarius and Taurus. It depends on where you go, but for me, it's a very big Aquarius energy, and we're looking for that new thing. And your weird, your different, your absurdities might not. In fact, there's going to be people that it's not for them. Either they're not ready, or that's not ever going to be on any of the timelines they choose, or or a number of other things. But that's okay, because you shouldn't speak out to try to please everybody. You shouldn't show who you are and stand in your beautifulness, your absurdities, and I don't know what the opposite of that is. Your normalness. You shouldn't do that to try to please everybody or to try to get everybody to come on and understand what you're doing. Put it out there instead for you, just because you enjoy putting it out there, and two, put it out there because there are other beings that are either on the same kind of timeline and learning similar things to you, and that way they can go, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only weirdo out here, and there's others who will get there, and your information can help them get there, or you're, being brave enough to be you where other people can see it can help them get there. And then in turn, as they reach out to you and go, hey, I see you're a weirdo like me, I'm a weirdo like you, let's connect, then you don't feel so alone either. And then you're able to get that affirmation that you probably been looking for in squishy places that you weren't going to find it, maybe with romantic partners or your twin or things like that. Then yes, you can find it in there, but oftentimes you're not going to find that deep appreciation for your genuine weirdness until you appreciate it within yourself without there being any sort of like transactional exchanges for it, like sex. And then you can build that love within yourself when you see it reflected in fellow weirdos and friends and tribe mates and things like that. And then you can like you build that energy in yourself. You feel the love from spirit for your weirdness, because spirit knows something that you've been, learning along the way, that you're weird for a reason. I don't even know that weird is the right word for it, but in fact, thank you, Spirit, for showing me some new words that will be fun to substitute for weird. Just because, like, I like the word weird. A lot of people like the word weird, but it does definitely have some stigmas attached to it. So there's another delightful word in there that'll feel much better in our mouths about it. But for right now, just know you're weird for a reason. And it's not to ostracize you. It's not to make you feel like the one, the life of the party who stands in the corner and doesn't really talk to anyone or play with anyone. It's because your weirdness is actually a part of your light. It's a part of your light work. It's a part of your shoes, your dance, your experience in this world, partially to bring you joy in whatever way it does, and also to help inspire others to embrace their own weirdnesses. And no matter how alike yours is to somebody else's, it's still going to be different. And that's what makes it wonderful. Like when we talk about what's normal versus what's weird, or what's crazy versus what's sane, it's really just a matter of comparison, kind of the collective median of what we consider to be normal. And when you recognize that that's more just what we're used to. And so when you're talking about weirdness, what you're really talking about is what's unique about you. And I read something once that really feels relevant here, is that most people use the word unique inappropriately, because unique is, if we really really look at the word and the roots of what it means something that is, it's like a snowflake or a fingerprint. It's exceptionally different from everything else. It's not just a little bit different. It's not just partially different. It's not like taking the numbers on a house and you've got two sixes and one of them's green and one of them's blue. That neither one of those are unique. Those colors are around. They get sold at the store like that, and while they might look unique to each other standing right there, they're not really by definition unique. But they are different. Now, the way that we typically use unique, though, is to say that there's certain things about us that, like, say, if you wear black shoes, there's probably, and let's say you only ever wear black shoes and you always wear polka dotted socks. How about that? There are probably at least 1,000 other people who also do that, and you're probably connected to them through the 6 degrees of separation, which is a cool theorem to look into if you ever want to. But either way, like that can be considered unique because there are so many humans that it's not a common trait that you're going to find someone who wears the exact same style and color of shoes and socks most every day that you do. And so amongst your group, it's like the house numbers. If you'd only seen the two sixes with different colors on a house, your experience of that might be unique, especially if everyone else's houses also contains the number six, and none of them are, or that, let's say they have two sixes and all of them are the same color. So then your two sixes that are different colors than all the rest of the houses and different colors from each other is going to give you the experience of uniqueness. That's what your contrast, your differences, those parts about you that are not, exactly the same as everyone else around you. That's the experience that you get to have. And what's more fun is when people start sharing with you how you enjoying your own experience of uniqueness helps give them the experience of your uniqueness and find their own sense of uniqueness, and then that ripples out. And I'm really excited because I know that Spirit is really bringing this lesson in to, well, I want to say those of us that have been willing to start on this adventure of being seen and really getting out there and kind of creating this ripple effect where it's okay to talk about, well, pretty much anything, for one, first of all, and second of all, to talk about weird new concepts and things that others have not thought about, or that maybe that's been thought about but not talked about in the way that you feel called to talk about it, or to do it in a whole new way than it's ever been done before. And what used to stop us was, one, resources, and now we have things like YouTube and social media and stuff, and two, was that fear of rejection, that if I show other people my weirdness, if I talk about concepts that, let's say, some area of science would be like, oh, that's stupid, or some dogmatic religious organization would say that's wrong or heresy, or things like that, or that we just think that our family and friends would be like, what the hell are they talking about, and why do they seem to love that? Like there are going to be people that we trigger in doing that, and so long as we are in a place of recognizing that those that we trigger, that's good. It's actually good. And it's not fun to make people upset. And it's certainly not fun to be told what you're doing is wrong or inappropriate or abnormal and whatnot. But I'm excited because I think that that energy, even of the collective versus the individual, which is, no irony, or, well, I guess full irony, but no coincidence, the axis between Aquarius and Leo, the collective versus the individual within the collective. And that energy we are healing so that it's good to have both a collectiveness and an individuality, but it's the individual that makes up the collective. It's all the individuals together, and we really have not embraced the value in just sharing these concepts as they come up and allowing them just to exist for the fun of them existing, and enjoying if they go somewhere, and enjoying if they don't go somewhere, trying something new, and I mean, if nothing else, look at my channel. I just found out more recently that I'm somewhat of a light local celebrity, and like, it wasn't my goal. I figured at some point it would happen. I certainly didn't figure with the number of subscribers that I have so far, but it's cool and it's nice and it's fun. And mostly, like, I thought I would do more tarot readings and stuff on here. I started out thinking nobody really wants to hear the weird stuff that comes in and out of my mind. And then I found that as I just decided I'm just gonna put it out there just because I feel like it, and I'm gonna talk with people about it just because, that people were actually like, wow, I really liked that. I was really empowered by that, or inspired by that, or that, I didn't agree with exactly what you said, but it had me thinking about it, and I found a line of thought that really did hit home for me. It really did feel good for me, and that was really cool. So, like, if nothing else, look at my channel, look at the absurdities I talk about and embrace and things like that. If I can do this, trust me, people are going to love your weird. Embrace your own absurdities. All right. Thank you to those of you who watched, and I will catch you in the next video.